My Hero Academia's manga is well into its final story arc at the moment, and as it turns out, so is its very popular prequel series as well. My Hero Academia Vigilantes' final chapter dropped in the past week, bringing to an end the 2017 spin-off. So why is this spin-off series so popular, and is it worth your time to have a read? Spoiler, yeah.
Kawaii-Fi!
Konnichiwa, it's Kyle here, and this time we're talking manga, specifically the My Hero Academia prequel series, My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Vigilantes has just finished its 126 chapter run, having been released fortnightly for the past 5 years, and it also ended the story on its own terms. What do I mean by that? Well, it means it wasn't cancelled, meaning we got the story ending that the writers intended. This is a real danger for all manga, not just spin-offs. Typically, when a manga gets to 6 to 12 chapters, there's always the possibility that if they haven't built a following, the publisher could go, I need you to kind of wrap that up, and we'll move you on to your next project. Spin-off mangas generally rely on the success of the main manga to push their popularity up, meaning sometimes some of them are a little bit subpar and have a limited shelf life. From prequel stories to comedy remakes to completely changing the setting altogether, there's plenty of popular manga that have side stories aplenty. And here's just a few examples. From Attack on Titan, you have Attack on Titan Junior High, an 80-chapter side story where the whole cast is back in school. There's also the prequel series Before the Fall, which is 64 chapters, set 70 years before the main series. The No Regrets and Lost Girls mangas were adapted into OVAs for the series as well, and there's Spoof on Titan, a 4-coma comedy gag sketch manga which ran for 2 volumes. Let's look at something a little bit different with That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. The series has many side stories. The Ways of the Monster Nation, The Slime Diaries, That Time I Got Reincarnated Again as a Workaholic Slime, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Trinity in Tempest, Clayman's Revenge, and Tensura, a chibi series which has over 30 chapters. Even if we go into the romance mangas such as Kaguya-sama Love is War, it itself has 2 spin-off series. We want to talk about Kaguya, a side story commenting on the main story, and Kaguya-sama Love is War, its official doujin as well. And while there's plenty of good spin-offs in those series that I just listed, not all of them are going to appeal to everyone. But every now and then comes along a series which is a spin-off and it supports the primary manga while also being a really good read itself. And this is exactly what happened with Vigilantes. My Hero Academia Vigilantes, or MHA Illegals if you're in Japan, is a prequel series set a few years before the events of the main story. The series focuses on Himawari Koichi, a young man in Tokyo's Narahata district who, despite not being a licensed hero, uses his quirk to help others. That quirk is Slide and Glide, an attractive, repulsive force that he can project from his hands and feet and allows him to slide across surfaces. Think of it like an air hockey table on your hands and feet, which can also allow you to stick to walls like Spider-Man. Because of his ability, he becomes known as the Crawler, which, when paired with him wearing his exclusive All Might hoodies with the hair spikes for his disguise, meant he was frequently compared to a bug. Koichi isn't a registered hero, but he's a massive fan of All Might and wants to help his community out. Unfortunately, using your quirks without a license is illegal in My Hero Academia. What starts out as a fun little story in the backstreets of Tokyo turns into a compelling series that introduces the origins of the Nomu, world building for the main story, backstories for popular characters, and villains that would not be out of place in the main series. And it all works perfectly with the main series, because it was suggested by one of the main series' editors, Sato Tetsuya. Sato brought an illustrator, Betancourt, and writer, Furuhashi Hideyuki, who bring with them a lot of homages from American superhero comics, much like the core series does. Every chapter of Vigilantes is supervised and approved by My Hero Academia's original creator, Horikoshi, who also contributes his own ideas, and it means that the series feels very well built into the My Hero Academia world. Writer Furuhashi says he was inspired by Alan Moore's Watchmen series, which is from the 1980s, and the 1986 Batman miniseries, The Dark Knight Returns. In fact, the series references a lot of Marvel and DC characters. Koichi was inspired by Spider-Man, Knuckle Duster is inspired by Batman, and Overclock is based off The Flash. And in the bonus chapter, which focuses on Stain's backstory, there's a group of Yakuza very closely resembling the Marvel Avengers. There's also inspiration taken from quite a few cult classics throughout the series as well. Pop Step's outfit is based off a 90s manga series called Shadow Lady. Apparently it was an early pioneer in the comedy action genre, basically the predecessor for Ikitusen and other fan service orientated action series. Now this all sounds fantastic, but the real question is it any good? Yes, and to be perfectly honest, I've been looking forward more to the chapters of Vigilante dropping than the core series itself up until this point. There's something about Vigilantes that makes you feel really engrossed in the world that they're in. Firstly, it's set in the larger world, not just the hero campus, which lets us see a lot more about how the society works with heroes in it and the challenges they face. When it comes to the characters, they don't feel cookie cutter either. They're well defined, they're fun, and you want to know more about them and those that are around them. Also, it feels like it doesn't rely too much on the main series' big heroes, and it doesn't shoe them in needlessly. Outside of the initial 10 chapters where the story is establishing itself, you don't really see too much of heroes like All Might or Endeavor until much later in the story when they're actually needed. And most importantly, the story adds value to the My Hero Academia franchise. It doesn't feel like a cash grab. These stories feel like they have weight, and they do in fact play a role in shaping the main story as well. If you're reading or watching My Hero Academia already, Vigilantes expands the world without spoiling it. It's a great addition and honestly one of the best handled prequel mangas I've read in quite a long time. It's also pretty impressive when you realise they've got it within that 5-year period just before the start of the original series, just after All Might has been injured and before Midoriya becomes the next bearer of One for All. So where can you get it? Well, most manga retailers that stock My Hero Academia are also stocking Vigilantes due to its popularity. It's being released in English by Viz Media, who list a lot of their suppliers by region on their website. If you're in Australia, we highly recommend checking out Shumi-Shop. They're in East Victoria Park and online. It's where we buy most of our manga from, and the team that run it are just awesome to work with. If you're more of a digital reader, you can read it through the Shonen Jump digital app, which Viz have a link to on their website too. It's thankfully not massively expensive at $2 a month, and it gives you access to all their other manga too without having to buy individual volumes digitally. Not sponsored, it's just what we all use to read our Shonen Jump manga. And that's where we're going to leave this video. Now, if you have a spin-off series that you're particularly fond of, drop it in the comments below. If you did like the video, hit that thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you're not already on board as well. We'd love to show you what else we've got coming up in the future. If you haven't already checked it out, we recently tried to tackle a giant pudding. The video should be showing up in the right-hand corner. We also have a fortnightly anime podcast called Kawaii-Fi Radio, so follow the links in the video description to find us in your podcasting app of choice. A big thank you to our Patreon members who are supporting the channel. If you'd like to support us and get access to some behind the scenes content and extras, you can find the link for the Patreon below. And with that, I'm Kyle, and until next time, watch some anime.